All right, so let's get started. So let's find a comfortable position to get centered in. Child's pose is a nice place to start, but if you want to start in a different kind of shape, feel free to do that instead, like laying on your back or wherever you want to be. And just settling in, however works for you. Oh, I almost forgot. Probably want a playlist for some of us. So just go ahead and get cozy in there. I'm just gonna pick up a playlist for you guys. And you can start the music now if you want, or you can wait until we kind of start moving. You can do your centering first, just whatever you prefer. And take a few nice deep breaths if you haven't already. And so for me, this energy flow practice, part of what that means is tapping into the energy of your body as it is, the energy of what's happening in the environment. And as I was just saying, we kind of coming off this really intense full moon, and the energy is starting to soften and balance a little bit now. So we might have a little bit more energy or just feel like things are a little bit less intense. So just checking in with that. That may or may not resonate for you. And as we start to feel into the breath, what we're doing is feeling. So we don't need to think, analyze, fix, change. We're just feeling. That's enough. If you haven't already, we can use the Ujjayi pranayama to help us to do that. So as you inhale, widening and lifting your ribs. And just gently connecting to the core on the exhale. So we're listening for that little bit of a whispering sound at the back of the throat. And when you feel like you've got it and you're starting to feel that urge to move, let's find our way toward downward dog. So I'm going to take some cat and cows first. You're welcome to do that with me or come right into your dog if you're ready for it. You can have your eyes closed for sure and just sort of feel around what your body needs, where it feels like energy is flowing, where it feels like energy might be a little bit stuck. And that will almost certainly change in some way or another throughout the course of our practice. So just breathing into what's going on. And just adding any shapes that feel right for you to add. And just working yourself up into that downward facing dog when you feel ready. Spreading the fingers really nice and wide. Feet could be kind of wide too. Classically, it's hips distance, but you could go wider. A little bit of a bend in the elbows, and you can rock from side to side. Bending one knee at a time. Just staying with that sense of just sort of testing out the flow a little bit, just feeling it for yourself. And if you're feeling more stillness, that can be flow too. So just notice that, honor what's happening for you. A little bit of a bend in the elbows. Think of hugging them slightly towards each other. And you want to feel like the shoulders are really deep in their sockets so that the neck is not tense. And when you're ready, walking the feet to the hands, coming into standing forward bend. Let your neck relax. Let the knees be at least a little bit bent. You might want to rest your elbows on bent knees if your lower back is feeling a little sensitive today. Or if it feels good, you can hang down, you can sway, bend one knee at a time. Again, just continue to explore. And then we'll rise. So lean back into your heels, gather your belly in and roll up. If you're more comfortable sweeping up in one breath with a flat spine, you can certainly do that too. And just coming to find your standing. So noticing what that looks like or feels like for you. Find the soles of your feet really rooted in the earth. Your bones stacked, heart soft. Maybe taking a moment just to acknowledge the land that you're on, that your feet are connected to. And let's move. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive to the earth. Lengthen up halfway, draw the heart forward. Step your right foot behind you. You can lower the knee down or not. Inhale, low lunge, heart rises. Exhale, downward facing dog. Connect the palms, step back. And come to plank, shoulders over the wrists, and lower all the way down to your belly for this first one. Point your toes, little baby cobra, lift the heart. And then back to downward facing dog as you exhale. Right leg will rise to the sky just as high as you want. And step that foot through. High or low lunge, lift the heart long through the sides of the waist. And then to the top of your mat as you exhale. Lengthen, inhale, and melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Exhale, dive all the way down. Lengthen, inhale. Left foot steps back into your lunge. Heart and hands rise, pressing the hips forward. Downward facing dog. Connect the palms, step back. Inhale to plank. Maybe this time taking a little push up. And then pull through into your cobra or upward dog if you like. And back to downward dog on your exhale. Left leg will rise as high as you want. Step it through. Nice, coming into your lunge. And then forward fold. Lengthen. And melt. And your knees rise all the way up. And then hands come together at the heart, and we'll just keep flowing. Take your time. Inhale, rise. And dive. Lengthen. Right foot back. Inhale. And exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Maybe a little push up, maybe all the way down. Inhale through to your back bend, cobra, up dog. And down dog. Right leg rises. And through. Nice, you guys. Inhale. Beautiful. Forward fold. Lengthen. And fold. Rise up. And down. Lengthen. Left foot back. Inhale. Nice. Vinyasa, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Maybe a little push up. On or off the knees is great. Pull through to your back bend. Downward dog. Left leg. And through. Nice. Inhale. Beautiful, you guys. Forward fold. Lengthen and melt. Rise all the way up. And then bring your hands together at your heart. Just take a moment to breathe and feel. Good. Okay, bend your knees. Reach your arms forward and up. And come into a little chair pose. So you can keep your feet here or maybe go a little bit wider if you want. And then see what it feels like to interlace your fingers and take them to the back of your head. Hug the elbows together a little bit and press them slightly up to the sky. So you want to think about your shoulders drawing down, even as your elbows are going up. And your weight is kind of in your heels. And I want you to find just a little bit of like an experiment here. So we're kind of bouncing a bit and maybe stepping from one side to the other. So keep your ujjayi going. Belly is gently engaged. We've got a little natural curve in the lower back. So we're not rounding, we're not sticking the butt out. And we're just feeling there's that left glute and there's the right one, just kind of, yep, noticing that. A little stay puffed marshmallow man kind of thing going on here. Okay, and then even on the two sides, come through center, maybe sink a little deeper. And then keep your arms as they are, straighten the legs, press the elbows up to the sky, maybe look up. And then back to neutral, hands to heart. Widen the feet about match distance apart, turn the toes out and sink into a squat. So feel free to sit on a block here or sit right down on the ground if your knees aren't crazy about hanging in a squat like this, okay? Totally okay to do that. Some people really like a squat if there's just a little support underneath the heels, so you can do it that way too, okay? And again, you can be seated kind of like this, and that works well too. Okay, from here, take your right fingertips down on the inside of your thigh. Left hand comes to the left knee. Roll your shoulder back, open the chest, and stay, or you can reach the arm back, or turn the thumb down and take a little half bind. So you're kind of wrapping around the right thigh. Hug the shoulders onto the back, and then gently release the weight of your head towards the ground. And then take a nice deep breath into the side of your neck. Okay, and then back up through center, and we'll just come to the other side. So gently release the hands back to center. Left fingertips come down, right hand starts on the knee, rolling open. Maybe stay or right hand back, or thumb down, wrapping around the left thigh or toward. Shoulders down, gently releasing some of the weight of the head. Think of pressing your arm and your leg a little bit into each other. Good, head to neutral. Come back to center, hands at heart, take a breath. And then sit down. Release your legs. You could take windshield wipers, or you could extend the legs out and give them a little shake. And then lay down on your back, please, when you're ready. Feel free to hold your legs to help you calm down. Okay, so we'll just work into the core a little bit here. So let's start by tilting the pelvis forward. Inhale, belly relaxes, pelvic floor relaxes. On the exhale, gather your pelvic floor in and up and press your belly button to the ground so that you feel your belly kind of hollowing out. And then inhale, puff up the belly, relax pelvic floor. Gather the pelvic floor in and up, so you're initiating from there, that genital area, and then belly button presses back towards the heart as the back flattens. Okay, one more time. Inhale, open, exhale, gather in and flatten. Now try to keep the engagement in the core and pelvic floor, but just come back to neutral. Okay, stay here. You can march, so lifting your right foot on your inhale and lowering it on your exhale, and then the left foot, and so on. So you guys know this one. There's just this little march from side to side, just keeping the core engaged. So if you're working with sensitive back or rehabilitating the core, you just know that one works for you. That's great. Okay, otherwise, let's lift the shins up to parallel with the earth. If you can, interlace your fingers around behind the back of your head and lift the shoulder blades up off the mat a little bit. Squeeze the legs together as if you had a loonie just in between your knees and you were trying to keep it there. Keep the belly drawing in and up. Knees move away from the hips on the inhale, and on the exhale, they come in. Good, knees move away, and they come in. So we're trying to keep the pelvis nice and steady, neutral spine, squeezing the legs together helps to activate the pelvic floor and transverse abdominis. Okay, I love this one. It's so effective. You can add onto it if you want to by curling the tailbone a little bit at the bottom of that exhale. So the knees move just past the hips. We don't want to straighten them completely because we're not trying to just only use the hip flexors here. We want to use the core. The hip flexors are part of the core, but the transverse abdominis specifically. But you can add that little crunch at the end. So the back goes to relatively neutral, and then it curls a little bit. I haven't done this one in a while. It's one of my favorites though. I find it's really effective for getting that deep core nice and strong. And I find that this one, even though I've been doing this one for like, I don't know, 10 years, like a really long time, pretty often, I still get some shaking with this one. And I kind of like to have ones where I get a little bit of a shake going because that means I'm challenging my core a little bit. I'm definitely feeling it today. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna try for 3 more. This is sort of one of my favorites for really reintegrating specifically the lower abdominals. Nice. And then when you're done, you can relax. I'm going to take feet to the floor and open the knees in kind of a butterfly shape and take a few nice deep breaths into the belly. Try to relax your pelvic floor mindfully. So we're not doing Ujjayi right at the moment. Awesome. Okay, from here, let's make our way into downward dog. So you can roll to one side and kind of crawl there. You can rock and roll forward and back along your spine if that's comfortable for you. Cross the ankles. If you want to jump back even, I don't really do that anymore. I did it for a while, but I don't really need to jar my lower back too much. Sometimes it still feels good, but not in as much of a jumping mood as I used to be. Okay, you're welcome to take vinyasa here if you want. So that could look like cat and cow. It could look like full vinyasa. Could look like some variation. There's lots of different ways of taking vinyasa. Just flowing through a little sequence with the breath. Yeah, and then we're gonna come back to the top of the mat. So since I'm talking about it, we can try a jump together. So here's what it would look like. We lift the knees, or sorry, heels, bend the knees, look ahead of the hands, and then you want to try to land at your feet so quietly, it'd be like if you're in the library. So we inhale, we exhale to prepare and kind of hold the breath out, nice and light. And then we inhale into our halfway lift. So just if you want to try that, of course, no pressure. And then we'll stand up. You can roll up or sweep up. Whatever works for you is fine. And just take a moment to notice how it feels to stand now, having done a little bit of that work in the abdominals. Okay, lift up your toes, spread them apart, and squish them into the mud beneath you. Lean left, pick up your right foot, hold on to it with your right hand. If you need a wall here, feel free to use a wall. You could also have your left hand just at your heart, maybe taking Prithvi Mudra, so the middle finger, the ring finger tucks inside the thumb, like that. And then you press the fingernail into the thumb, can be really helpful for balance. And then we're drawing the tailbone down, Hugging the knees together, lengthening the front of the thigh, flaring the toes. So it's a quadricep stretch. Okay, and you're welcome to stay here, or we'll try a dancer's pose, but try to keep your hips squaring forward so you're not opening to the side. So if you want to take dancer's pose, sneak your right palm to face outward so that you're holding the inner arch of your foot with your right palm. Bend your left leg a little bit, kick the foot into the hand, and allow your heart to come a bit forward and the right shoulder to draw back. You can let the left arm come forward if you want, but again, try to keep the heart and the hips pointing forward. Okay, from here, I'd love for you to release the foot, hands to the heart, and land in warrior one. Nice, so again, just re-square the hips forward to the front of the mat. And then take your arms really wide like wings. Lean forward a little bit and dig your heel into the mat. Okay, gather in the belly. We're gonna do a little bit of movement here. So we inhale. As you exhale, dip into your front leg. Inhale, lift the heel any amount. And then exhale, land. Lean forward, inhale, lift a little bit. Exhale and land. Okay, so just a couple more, following your breath, just rocking forward and back, challenging a little bit the small stabilizer muscles on the left glutes, keeping the core engaged, gaze steady. Okay, really nice. One more if you have it in you. Maybe reach the hands a little more forward if you want a bit more challenge. And then come back into warrior one. Nice work, you guys. Release the hands behind your back. Interlace the fingers, hook the thumbs, or if you want to grab your strap here, feel free. Okay, draw the tailbone down, dig that heel into the mat, hug the elbows towards each other, and open your chest. Lengthening the psoas on the right side. Beautiful. Okay, go ahead and straighten your front leg, bring your hands to your hips. Keep those elbows back, tip the hips back, and fold down. You can use your blocks here if that's helpful for you, or just on the ground is fine. And then take a couple of breaths to explore here. So lengthening as you inhale, and as you exhale, just melt in a little bit. And take a couple of those. Just softening into the hamstring. Okay, and then take your halfway lift. Your right hand might need to come a little bit wider to the right and open your left arm into a little bit of a twist. So we're allowing the left hip to roll back slightly, and I'm hoping you just feel a little bit more of a stretch on that outer hip. A little bit of opening in the chest. Awesome, and then back to downward facing dog. And optionally take a vinyasa here, any variation. Nice. Good. Okay, I'm just going to turn around for this next part. So from here, let's find our hands and our knees. You can bring the knees a little bit closer together. Draw your belly in, and then as you inhale, open the right knee to the right, like you're a dog peeing on a hydrant. Okay. But unlike the dog peeing on the hydrant, try to keep the rest of your body really straight towards the floor. So just taking 3 of these. Okay, and then either repeat that 3 times or come into your downward dog and do it with a straight right leg. Whoa. Flex the foot. 2. Just one more. 3. Awesome. And then extend the leg up to the sky. You can open the hips if you want. Just give yourself a little bit of space. You can still be on hands and knees for sure. And then we'll step the foot forward and come up into warrior 2. So spin your back heel down, reach up and wide, but then as soon as you come up, turn your feet to face the long edge of your mat and out at a little bit of an angle. Excuse me. Reach the arms up, and as you exhale, bend the knees and the elbows into goddess shape. 2 more times. Good. Nice. Okay. Reach the arms up, flip the palms out, and then cross the right wrist over the left. Yeah? Bend the knees again, doesn't have to be deep. And take a little bit of a side stretch to one side, doesn't matter which way. Lengthen the tailbone a little bit down, but press the knees out. Come up through center and then go to the other side. Awesome. And then straighten the legs, come through center, release the arms open and take that warrior 2. So the right toes are pointed out to the right, left toes turn in a little bit, knee bends over the ankle, and you might be lengthening your stance a little bit from that goddess shape for sure. Soften the shoulders onto the back, and you can take a little bit of that wing shape again. So it's almost like, it's still wide, but there's a bit of a hollowing in the chest almost, like there's sort of a wide embrace going on. Just feeling that width. Nice, and then bend, and then reach your arms up, bend your right elbow, hold on to the elbow with your left hand, and side bend to the back of your mat. Awesome, and then triangle, straighten your front leg, release your arms. Keep a little bit of bend in the front knee, fingertips land, open your chest. And then stay here or experiment with a half bind, wrapping that left arm around your lower back so you're reaching towards the thigh. And just see if that can help you get your shoulder back a little bit and lean your ears back slightly. Really nice. Inhale, and then gently release your hands to either side of your front foot. You can kind of come through a long lunge, bend that back leg, and just simply step forward so both of your feet are at the top of your mat again. Lengthen your heart, and then melt. And again, rise up in your favorite way. So we are going to be balancing, and I do like to roll up when I'm going to balance because I feel like I can kind of dig my feet deeper into the ground and really feel my weight shifting as I rise. And just take a moment to feel, to notice where you're at right now, how the energy is moving through your body. And then really find the feet again, all 10 of your toes. Maybe soften the knees a little bit so you can feel your weight slightly more in your heels. Lean right, pick up your left knee, foot. Hold on to the, bend your left knee. Hold on to the foot with your left hand. Hug the inner thighs together a little bit. Draw the tailbone down, squeeze the bum. And there's just that sort of lengthening of the tailbone happening here. Foot is flaring into the hand. So we're just working with a quadricep stretch to start, and you might certainly want to stay there, which is perfect, okay? Have your right hand at your heart, maybe with that Prithvi Mudra, ring finger tucked into the thumb. And if you're feeling like you want to take it a little bit into a different shape, we can take that left palm to face out. So we're holding the inner arch of the foot, bend the right knee a little bit, and then start to kick the foot back, tipping the heart forward, but really try to keep everything squared to the front still. So we're not opening to the side. The shoulder can roll back for sure. And there will be a slight imbalance here, but the intention is heart and hips straight forward, like warrior one. This is related to warrior one. It doesn't, I know it doesn't look much like it, but the alignment is actually pretty similar. Nice, and then let's gently release the foot and land back in warrior one as gently as you can. Good, okay, re-square the feet. Take that kind of wide wing shape. Feet are pretty wide apart. Okay, gather belly in, inhale. Exhale, lean a little bit of weight forward. And then as you inhale, lift. Doesn't matter how far you're going here. And then as you exhale, step back. We're just going to shift forward and back a couple of times, so be gentle. Okay, it doesn't matter how far you're going. I just want you to get a feeling of kind of coming in and out of the balance and having your whole body from heart to left toes kind of connected to itself. So we're working with some core here, some strengthening of the right hip stabilizers as well. Really nice, everybody. Try for 2 more times. One more. And if you're feeling it, maybe you can stay. Maybe the arms will come forward a little. Awesome. And then land back in your warrior one. Nice work, you guys. Hips are squaring. Hands to hips. Draw the elbows together. Press into that back heel. You can interlace your fingers, hook your thumbs, or grab your strap again. Press the fist down. Let the heart open. So even as the heart is opening, try to keep the lower back long so that you're actually finding that length in your hip flexor. Ground into your left heel. You could look up a bit. That looks awesome, everybody. Really good work. So nice. Okay. Release your hands to your hips, straighten your front leg. Elbows back, lift the heart and fold down. Feel free to grab your blocks. You also might find you need to adjust your stance a little bit, for example, shortening it or widening it. You should have hips distance between your heels here. Okay. And then lengthen your heart forward, right hip back. Exhale, melt. Just take a couple of those, kind of saying hello to the hamstrings on this side. Just again, noticing if the energy is flowing here easily or less so. Either way is okay. Nice. And then try for that halfway lift. You might want to walk your left hand a little farther out. There's sort of a special place there. It will depend on your body today a little bit. You reach your right arm up and draw that right hip back. So just getting a little bit more space into the outer hip. Try to keep pressing down into both big toe mounds. Nice open chest. So nice. And then back to your downward facing dog or child's pose and flow through cat and cow, vinyasa, or rest is great as well. Just a little sort of check in, see what you need here at this point in your practice. Beautiful. All right, and then let's come down to the knees. Core is engaged, hands pressing down, shoulders back. Left knee opens straight out to the left for 3. Okay, bring it down. 2. Bring it down. 1 more. That's it, really good. And then do that 3 more times, or come up into your downward dog and do it with your straight left leg. So the foot is flexed. We're going straight out to the left. The more forward the leg is, the harder this is going to be. Do we want it to be hard? Maybe, maybe not. Either way is fine. Okay, and then open your hips, let that leg go back behind you, just take a little space there. And then again, step through, come up into warrior 2, but just kind of as a transition right away, we're gonna straighten the legs, turn them out so that we're facing the long edge of the mat. Toes turned out, arms reach up. Nice, and then on exhale, elbows and knees bend. Goddess pose, good. 2. 1 more. Maybe exhaling out your mouth for this one. Nice, straighten your arms. Turn the palms to face out, and then cross your left wrist over top of your right one. Then bend the knees again. Draw the tailbone a little bit down and side bend. For me, this one is just like right under the shoulder blade. It's such a nice shoulder opening here. Up through center and over to the other side. Up through center. Straighten the legs, release, and come into warrior 2. So now the left foot is forward and the right leg is back, yeah? Arms open, you can take that kind of wide wingspan here if that's working for you. Knee over the ankle, just taking a few breaths to feel your strength here. Feel how much space you're taking up. And then reach the arms up, bend the left elbow, hold on to it with the right hand and side bend to the back. Beautiful, and then straighten the leg, release your arms. We're coming into triangle. I'm just shortening my stance a bit. Want to keep that front knee a little bit bent, reach forward, draw belly in, draw the ribs slightly back, turning the heart open. So your chest and hips are roughly in line with each other. Okay, and you can stay or try the half bind if you'd like, wrapping, so the right thumb turns down and then wraps around the lower back. And the idea there is that it helps to just open the chest a bit, though the arm is in internal rotation. So it's just sort of a specific place for the shoulder to be. Leaning the ears back a little and just seeing how this might feel different for you. Awesome. Let's inhale and gently unwind, bend that front knee, fingertips come down, kind of coming through a lunge, step forward to the top of your mat, lengthen halfway and melt. Okay, from here, go ahead and step back into your downward facing dog and optionally take Vinyasa. Okay, you can also rest. And then we're going to play a little bit from here. All right, so I thought for today we might try a variation of headstand called the bird's nest. And this is one that I really like because I find that it just kind of gives you a little bit of a different contact with the earth. And it has just a whiff of forearm stand to it, but it's more so headstand. So I'm just going to show you what the mudra looks like up close. So it's the bird's nest. So we've got the pinky fingers touching, the fingers are kind of loosely interlaced. And there's this like little pocket here that you could put some, like you want to think of if there was like a little plum or something you could put there, and there would be that space. And then your head is going to go, if you're going to put your head on the ground, which you don't have to, behind your thumbs. So you're kind of, you've got this nest around your head. So it's not this one, it's not this one. It's a little different from both of those, and the pinkies are kind of free. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like on my mat, and I'm going to use my sock just to show you there's a little bit of space. So there's a little something here, and I'm just covering the little something. Okay, and actually, now that my hands are on the ground, I actually have the pinkies quite wide and the ring fingers are touching. So the ring fingers are actually not crossed for me. They're touching each other. Okay, so it looks a little more like this on the ground. It's quite a wide mudra. So what that allows me to do is really feel a lot of my forearms here. And I would recommend doing this without a wall, because if you do somersault, your pinky fingers are not in the best spot for that. So you do want to have a wall if you're going to try to go up. You don't have to, okay? If you don't want to go up or you don't want to put pressure on your head, you could do just the prep here. So you've got the mudra, your head would come down just in front of your thumbs, and then you could play with, you know, your downward dog, maybe lifting one leg at a time. You could do that almost like a forearm stand. This is actually not a bad variation of forearm stand that you could do if you wanted as well, if you want to do the inversion but not have your head on the ground. Okay, headless version. Otherwise, we'll try it at the wall. So some of that work that we've been doing today on just really keeping everything kind of connected along the line of the body is helpful here. I'm just going to see if I can kind of show you my wall here. And there's a few different ways to go up, but you want to think about not jumping. Okay, so if you've got a wall, you can be quite close to it for headstand variations. I'm maybe a hand and a half or so away, but I could be sort of right up against the wall here, really. I'm going to put my very top of my head down, and I've got this little ponytail that's kind of tucking into that spot where my sock is. Elbows are kind of close. They're going to want to roll out a little. Okay, so then I'll lift up, maybe lift a leg, and I'm pushing into my elbows to see if I can just gently lift up. So it might seem like you have to have more weight on your head. You don't. You just push into your forearms more. Okay, and I like this one a lot. It's actually a little more stable than some of our classical variations. Okay. Yeah. Good. So Tessa, can you get your feet any closer to your elbows? Bend your knees a bit. Yeah, there you go. And kind of stick your bum up. That's it. Okay, now lift a leg. It's going to feel quite different. That's it. I can't tell if you have a wall or not there, but you're a lot closer to that sort of straight line. Nice, you guys. Yeah, Tessa, you're so close. Yeah, really good. And then let's come into child's pose if you're coming out of this variation, and just rest for a moment. And just notice how that feels. So we're just kind of talking about the intensity of the energy softening, and I know it's a bit of a weird one, but I actually find that headstand feels a little softer. Okay. So from here, I want to actually offer Camel. I know some of you hate Camel. So if you're in that camp and you don't want to take Camel, or if your lower back is quite sensitive, we'll go into it carefully, but you could come to your belly instead and do like a cobra or a locust with your fingers interlaced around behind you. We're not going to spend a ton of time here, but if you're okay to come to camel with me, you can double fold your mat and come and stand on your knees. I like a brick between my ankles, just above the ankle bone. Hands on hips. I want to squeeze the block, squeeze my bum, press my hips a little forward. And I'm just going to have my hands on my hips for now. I'm going to roll my shoulders up to my ears, squeeze them together and down my back. Okay, and then I might just stay here. My back is actually feeling a little sensitive today, so I'm just going to stay here, hugging the elbows together and just opening the chest. Okay, you could also experiment with interlacing your fingers around behind you, so kind of like we might do when we're standing. And if you are feeling pretty comfortable, and I'm just going to see how this goes, yeah, you can bring your fingertips to your heels, and then there's a little bit more opening that you can get in the chest there, but keep squeezing your bum, keep squeezing the block. Camel is really about length, not cranking back on the lower back. Okay, nice. And then when you're ready, come and sit. If you've been doing a belly, back bend, or some other variations, come to rest. And I'm just sitting on my block. I'm going to turn my palms up, relax my jaw, and just let that energy flow through. Nice. Okay, sitting up nice and tall, let's take a simple twist. You could, if you're laying on your back already, you could do the twist from there. If you're seated, we'll just take a simple one. Taking your right hand across, left hand to the lower back or the floor if the floor is accessible. Hug the shoulders down the back and just gently spiral. Back through center, and then to the other side, left hand across, right hand to the lower back or to the floor, just hugging the shoulders back and gently twist. Twist and nice, we're just kind of resetting the lower back after back bends. Beautiful, and then we'll come back through center and give your shoulders a little roll. So I'd love to take shoulder stand. So you don't have to do shoulder stand at all. I'm going to give you some options to be in it or not. And of course, I'm not in the room with you with all the props, so it's a little bit much to sort of describe what this is. But if you would like a little extra support in your shoulder stand, you could put a blanket just on your mat here, and then you'd have your shoulders resting on this little ridge with your head on the ground. It makes your neck a little bit longer, and some people really find shoulder stands so much more comfortable that way. You can do it with something like a low block, but it's just that you need a little bit more material to support you. Your shoulders, mine wouldn't really stand on this that well, so it would kind of need to be a folded blanket, but I'm just going to try it with my mat folded a couple of times just as an experiment. Okay, and this is pretty low here. You don't necessarily have to do this, and keep in mind you don't have to do shoulder stand at all. It just does help some people if you have that little bit of elevation there. It just gives your neck a little bit more space. Okay, so option A, if you're not taking shoulder stand, what you can do instead is take a prop like this one. You don't necessarily need anything for this, or bolster. Elevate your hips and just let your legs float. So this is a really nice inversion that obviously doesn't require all that work in the neck. It's quite restorative. So feel free to take this one. Okay, and there will be a little more to do there as well. If you'd like to take shoulder stand, you don't want to look around when you're in it, so feel free to watch now instead. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? If it ever becomes uncomfortable, just come right down. Okay. So part of the reason if you're up on that platform, you kind of need a little bit more. It's because you need something to put your elbows on. Your elbows are really a big part of your support. So I'd kind of be falling off that little prop if I were doing it that way. So the legs can go up, and if you need a little help, you can actually use that elevation of the hips. Why not? Elbows pressed down and apart, shoulders hugged together, legs swing towards you, holding the lower back with your hands and just trying to walk up. Okay, try to get those shoulders as together as you can, legs as straight as you can. Okay, close your eyes. Again, you don't want to look around. And then you can stay here, or we can do a little hips. So I'm going to take my right ankle to my left thigh, just above the knee, and then bend the left knee in towards my face until I feel a bit of a hip stretch. If you're more laying on your back, you're doing thread the needle, which many of you know. And then we'll switch sides. You can extend the legs up, take the left ankle to right thigh, and draw that in. So if you're laying on your back, you can draw the leg in with your hands. But if you're upside down like this, you can just use gravity. Okay, you can release the legs. And if you're still okay in shoulder stand, you can let your legs come over your head like a plow, interlacing the fingers and using the length of your arms to help support you. And that would just be if your feet are comfortably on the ground. If they are not comfortably on the ground, keep your hands on your back. If you're in that more elevated version, you can just hold your legs and hug them in any amount. A little half plow. Okay, when you're ready to come out, hold your lower back with your hands and just gently roll down onto the ground or onto your props, whatever you've got, and then just take a moment to rest if you can. Just let your shoulders and neck relax. And then you can take a happy baby. So soles of the feet to the sky, knees open wide, holding whatever is accessible for you to hold, and you can rock a little from side to side. Beautiful. And then we'll take fish, which is honestly one of my favorite poses with or without shoulder stand, but it's a nice counter pose to shoulder stand, and it's a great counter pose to sitting as well. It's one of those. So your mat is probably fine if you have it a little rolled up like I do. You're gonna sit on your hands, so palms face down, thumbs are touching, and then squeeze the shoulders together so that you're sitting closer to your forearms. Straighten your legs, squeeze them together, press the elbows down and apart, lift your chest, and come lightly onto the crown of your head. Elbows press down and apart to open the throat. Sigh if you want, or even stick your tongue out. And then gently press into your elbows to tuck your chin in. Release onto the back of your head, release your hands. And I'm usually quite ready for Shavasana from there. If you need a last pose or something that you want to do to kind of set up your Shavasana, like put a bolster under your thighs, feel free to do that. You might even just want to rock your head a little from side to side. And then rest. And take a moment to notice how you're feeling, how the energy is flowing through your body. What's happening with your mood. You're welcome to stay as long as you'd like. You can also wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head side to side. And reach your arms up over your head, taking a nice stretch. And then gather in your knees. And roll over to one side. And then press up to a seat when you're ready. You could take the hands together at your heart or over top, or wherever feels right. And then gently bow your mind to your hands, honoring and acknowledging whatever it took for you to get here to your practice today, whatever that practice looked or felt like. To honor and acknowledge the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us in our practice. And to honor the land that we practice on, wherever that may be in the world. Thank you for sharing that practice with me.